Remember this beautiful logo? And when Elon Musk suddenly changed it to this? Well, it apparently cost the brand more than $4 billion. So I think I'll put that in F tier for absolutely fine. That's the first out of all these logos that I'll be ranking to find out what are the best and worst logo changes of all time. So the next one is Firefox, which, to be honest, they fumbled the bag. I remember everyone used to love this logo, they had it for years, and as companies have been doing recently, they just got rid of all of its personality. This one's alright, but this one here is just completely soulless. So sorry Firefox, you're going to corporate sterilization. So next up we got BP. This is what their logo looked like back in the day. Kind of looks like a football team. But then obviously they're trying to go for the environmentally friendly sort of route and went for this new flower sunshine vibe. But I kind of rate the fact they spilled 100 million gallons of oil into the ocean and then just thought a logo change and fix it. BP, S tier. Next up is Uber, and as we can tell, that's another one for corporate sterilization. Right, so Reddit's most recent logo change, I actually really like. I think they're doing what everyone else is doing by trying to make their logos quite bold, quite simple, very recognizable, and very scalable. But they're not removing all the character from it. If anything, they took the little snoo character that worked really well for them, and they added more personality to it. I'll put that in A tier. FedEx is a cool logo, literally just because it's got this random arrow in it. C tier. Next one's an iconic one, Coca-Cola logo. I'm gonna be the first to say it. The changes that they made in 1946, crazy. Now I do think Coca-Cola is a good representation of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They've kept pretty much the same logo for more than a century, and it works. So it's not really a logo change per se, it's more a lack of one, but I'm gonna put that in S tier. Next is Burger King, and I gotta say, I absolutely love this change. The old logo just felt so 2006, felt very boyish, teenager-ish, very fast food, not for me. The new one, obviously they went back to one of their old logos they had back in the day. I think that's a trend we're seeing a lot recently. But it just works really well. It's simple, it shows it's about burgers. It's not particularly excluding anyone from the market. But what persuaded me the most was actually looking at the rebrand as a whole. Like, this website is just beautiful. You can see how they're using the new typeface. The new stores look really nice, the new signs, the new photos they're using. The illustrations kind of getting overused now. We've seen these illustrations a lot. I think what I like the most about this rebrand is, to me, it just conveys quality. Which before you'd never think that about Burger King, it's just another burger joint. The one gripe I have about it is a little bit simple, it's a little bit boring, so I'll put it in A tier. So now we've got MasterCard, which used to be this logo here. But in 2020, they managed to change it to just literally a red and orange circle overlapping. And the fact that you can see just those two elements and you know exactly what it is, that means you've done something right for your logo in my opinion. Although apparently they did try and go with this logo at one point, which I absolutely hate, so I'm glad they moved away from it. MasterCard, I'm going to put you in A tier. Alright, so this one's a fun one. So this is the Weight Watchers logo that I remember, but in 2018, they wanted to move into the wellness industry, and I think they wanted to drop the whole weight aspect of their brand. And they thought the way to do that was to call themselves WW, which doesn't roll off the tongue. The new logo just looks corporate, it looks boring, and no one's going to call the fucking brand WW. So, unfortunately, Weight Watchers, that's another F tier for me. McDonald's is an interesting one. Since 1968, they had the yellow letter M, and they kept pretty much the same thing, just refined it and refined it until today. But the notable thing to me about the McDonald's logo is the fact it's called the Golden Arches. And I think if you've got a name like that for your logo, again, you're doing something right. I'm gonna put that in S tier. Alright, so this is the Mailchimp logo that's been changed. It's a lot better than the old one. They didn't completely rid it of all personality. I'll put it in D tier. Next up is when they changed Airbnb from this logo here to this one. Obviously the old logo sucks, it's very 2010, but this new one is just so, it doesn't convey anything to me. Is it supposed to be a navigation icon, a home thing, a tent icon? I don't know. But when they changed it, basically it went kind of viral because people were saying it looked like a vagina or something. And then I think some people were saying they did that on purpose to get people to talk about it. I don't know, to me it doesn't really look like that. I think it's just a boring logo, but it's better than the old one. I'll put it in E tier. Next up is from when Gap had this iconic logo they've had for a long time, everyone recognises it. And in 2010, they spent $100 million to try and change it to this, which honestly looks like it should be a computer tech company. Everyone absolutely hated it. Like, all over Twitter, people were saying it's shit, it's shit, it's shit, change it back. And then the company freaked out, and obviously they went back to what they have nowadays. $100 million, not very well spent. I'm gonna put that in F tier. But apparently other people were saying that could be a marketing stunt as well. And if so, changing the logo for a week, that got a lot of people to talk about it. So, just on the slight chance that's true, E tier. Okay, next is Burberry. They completely ruined the fucking logo here. The old one had its tradition in it. It had that sort of designer element that you'd expect a little bit. And they completely devoid it of all its personality. corporate sterilization. Right. Okay, consignia. So this is when the Royal Mail, which is like one of Britain's most iconic, memorable, loved brands, for some reason decided they were going to rebrand as Consignia and then had this terrible logo to it. I have no idea for the reason of it. Everyone hated it and then they obviously were forced to change it back. I'm going to put that in F2. So this was interesting to me because when they changed it to this, I didn't like it at first and I don't remember anyone really liking it. But I think it's just one of those things where people don't like change. They were 100% going in the right direction with it. The new colour is a lot better, stands out more, and actually they kind of just refined what worked well for them already. So I think I'll put that in B2. Right, Domino's, all they did was just make it simpler and simpler. It represents the brand well, it does the job, C2. So I think Google's another one where they follow this trend of just simplifying, but they've actually done it well. They've still got the iconic Google colours, just in a more legible and clearer font. And I think the fact that Google is now in the dictionary and no one ever says, let me Bing that, to me, that's going in A2. Fat face. Okay, so this is the Fat Face logo. I don't know if you've heard of it as a company, but I think it's popular in the UK anyway. But this is such a cool logo. I like this. It's just, there's a lot of character to it. It's fun. And they made it so boring. It's just bland, capitals, corporate sterilization, right, and there you go. Alright, so the Instagram logo. I think this is just such a cool icon and it's so memorable of Instagram that when they changed it to this new one, it was a little bit frustrating. But I actually think for their target audience, it works well. It stands out among the other social media apps. The old one was a little bit too complicated, so I get it. But there's just a little part of me that wishes, could they not have just simplified the old one a bit more and kept a lot of its personality? Some would say they did that. I'm not sure. I think it's one of those ones where actually from a business's perspective, it probably works well as a brand and it's made them a bit more money. But as a customer, you don't love it. So I'm gonna put it in C tier. WWE, all they did was just simplify it. No one likes the harsh edges anymore. Whatever, D tier. PayPal again, they took what worked, simplified it. I think that's what you should do really. D tier. Alright, next up is compare the market. And this one's really interesting to me because essentially they started out with this really boring logo. There's just nothing to that. And then one day they ran this advert and the whole idea is it's a meerkat and he's telling people stop confusing his website, comparethemeerkat.com, with compare the market. And for some reason people loved it, like it popped off. And then so they doubled down. They did loads of adverts about this compare the meerkat, compare the market website because it just did so well. And I think that just led them to changing their logo to this, which if it works, man. You know, I remember for a long time I thought like the company was actually called Compare the Meerkat. Just because it's a little bit different from everything else, I'll put that in B tier. Alright, so Sprite. So this is how it looked back in the day. They've just removed every element from it again. You know, obviously they're trying to find the essence of what works for them, and it's probably another business decision that works well, but it's a bit boring, so D tier. Actually, we can't put it in the same tier as Gap because that was tragic. D tier. Okay, so Pringles is a controversial one because people love the old character and they hate the new one, and I gotta agree, the new one's very boring, but I kind of like it a little bit. I think they've kept some of the personality. I like the simplification. I'll put it in C tier. So I think at one point MySpace tried to change their logo to this. They thought they were cooking, bro. They thought they smashed it. But that's terrible, F tier. Alright, so we got the Chrome icons. I can see what they're trying to do with it. They're trying to make everything the same colours, all feel cohesive, part of the same family. But they just executed it so poorly. It's like a roulette if you actually click on the right app that you're trying to aim for. I'm gonna put that in F tier. The Starbucks logo. I get what they're trying to do, just get rid of the words. Make it just about the mermaid by itself. Fair enough, I get it. I'll put it in D tier. Okay, the Apple logo changes. So pretty much these are the only changes they made throughout their history. But I think what's interesting about Apple is it shows how much people actually overthink logos, in my opinion. But this is the most popular brand in the world. It's worth more than any other brand ever. And all it is an apple, doesn't represent tech at all. It's just something simple but a little bit unique, a little tiny bit of character, and they can just use and abuse it. And obviously it's worked really well for them. I'm gonna have to put it in S tier. The fact that you can make an Apple work for a tech company like that, that's worth it. GoDaddy is another case of corporate sterilization. Starburst literally used to be called Opal Fruits. They proper upgraded the name and the design. A tier. Alright, Subway. So to me, this logo is iconic, but it properly represents fast food in my eyes. I don't know what the element of it that just looks unhealthy. It looks cool. It doesn't look like a thing that mums are going to buy, do you know what I mean? But then they changed it to this new logo, which somehow looks a lot healthier, it looks cleaner, it looks like it's potentially good for you, and it's something I can imagine mums buying. But the fact that you can't even call their bread anymore in Ireland because there's legally too much sugar in it. Do you really want to be the healthy brand? But overall, I like it. B tier. Alright, TGI Fridays. The old logo, which was a mess, too much going on. They somehow simplified it to this. I'm gonna put it in B tier. Alright, so this is a shop in the UK, if it doesn't exist elsewhere, called Co-op. But a couple of years ago, it's called the Cooperative, which absolutely no one called it by that. It's too much of a tongue twister. The Cooperative. The Cooperative. And when they changed it to this, I thought that's such a great idea, and the new logo was amazing. But actually, looking back on it, this was their logo in 1968, which to me is incredible that it's that timeless and it works that well, and for some reason they changed it. I don't get it. But just for them to have the balls to go back to it, I'm gonna put it in S tier. Toblerone, it's another banging logo. It's got a secret bear in it. Like, how can you beat that? You're going right next to FedEx. Alright, so next up we got when Tropicana, which tried to change this iconic logo into this one, and along with it they changed all their packaging and everything, and it just plummeted sales. They made it look so generic, completely lost all their brand identity at all. It was just a waste of $30 million. I'm gonna put that in F tier. Alright, Formula 1. The new logo looks pretty sick, but does it have a secret one in there? No, it doesn't. Automatically, that is an M tier. Alright, so this is the history of Walmart. They started off with Walton's, Walmart Discount City. Some very interesting choices for their logos. For some reason in 1992 they added the star between Walmart. Don't get why they did that. But they had the sense to fix it in 2008. So I'll put you in B tier. Alright, the YouTube logo. I think they've always just had something that works, and they've never really decided they had to update it that much. I think they've done the right thing, they simplified it, they found the essence of the brand. I'll put you in E tier. Actually, go on D tier. I think we've got to move Gap down. It's just not right there. And last but not least, Pepsi. Pepsi's always been a gripe for me. They've had this logo since 2008. It's just so disgusting. I don't think I know anyone that likes that logo, and yet they used it for so long. And when you're competing against a logo such as Coca-Cola, you've got to get it right. But what's even crazier is the actual document behind why they changed the logo and the reasonings and thoughts for it. And it's insane. The old logo they had before this, it was nice, it worked. And because it's some bullshit marketers, he started introducing all these shapes and the Fibonacci sequence and Mona Lisa and Da Vinci. And like all these bullshit circles, like what does that mean? They compare the Pepsi ratio with the golden ratio. Like, no one gets that. They brought the earth into it, the core of the earth, and then the magnetic fields and energy fields and dynamics and all of this absolute jargon just for this shittest logo ever. Which, for me, if you're going to do all of that, you can go right to the bottom of F tier.